What's going on, guys? Right by my teacher in the house, and we're back with the GPL Week 2 Pickems, I should say. Man, I'm very tired. Sorry, scuffed intro, but you know what? Who cares? But of course, we do not do Pickems alone. I always have a co-host with me, and joining me for this episode and for the rest of the season now is going to be Exo. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's going on, GPL community?
Alright, so on the screen right now you can see all the results from last week. We don't go over them, so if you're not too familiar with them, feel free to pause the video here. But for those of you who don't know how Pickems work, as you can see on me on either side of the screen, we break down either side of the coaches who are playing this week, and then we try and pick a winner and a scoreline. Now, as you can see at the top of the screen, we both did pretty crap in week 1. You guys kind of upset the apple cart a bit. You're supposed to give us points, guys, just saying. But we did both get at least 2 correct winners, just no correct scorelines. So we end up starting this week off at 2-2. But starting off this week, just to clarify for some people who might be wondering, at the time we're recording this, a couple of matches have gone ahead. We haven't watched them. We don't know at all, so we can still predict these guys. There will be one incident in the other hole-in one, which is actually Exo's game, where he actually played before we did this, so that one we can't do. But every other match is completely blind. We don't know what's going on. But with that all being said, first up on the docket for Johto this week is going to be ARvid, coach of the Big Metals, versus DJ of DJ Darkness. Exo, what are you thinking?
Wow. I think DJ just... There's not much that ARvid can do. Both his Gmax and his biggest tier 1 are weak to fire versus a Sun team that is extremely scary.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Mew can be an option. Mew can be okay if it gets enough time to set up. I can see like a nasty plot set being a thing. There's not the hugest amount of special bulk on DJ's team. That could be an avenue he could try to exploit. Things like the Chandelure, for example, could be decent if scarfed. But even when I say that, Torkoal just looks like free win against this team. I don't really see how he can break through the Torkoal super easily, aside from like tech coverage moves. And like most of them are physical ground moves, which Torkoal has very good physical defense. The next thing that kind of scuppers the Scarf Chandelure strat is actually Scarf Crocodile. I could definitely see Crook coming this game. I think Crook is a very, very scary matchup. Gets a hell of a lot of coverage moves to hit pretty much everything on this team. So that's a bit of a scary one for me. Plus Knockoff being incredibly spammable.
Yeah, I agree with that. Crocodile, if it's Scarf, can sort of spam Knockoff. Just sort of need to get rid of maybe 1 or 2 Pokemon, that being like Fit1 Top comes, Drapion, and then like Ninetales. But other than that, it could just spam Knockoff, it looks like here.
Yeah. So, honestly, I feel like this is a pretty safe bet that I'm backing DJ to win. The question is, does he 6-0? Because that's tough. I feel like there could be some like shenanigans where Mew could set up. I could see like nasty plot being a thing, and if the Crook is scarfed, like if there's a nasty plot up before, I could imagine like priority. I know Mew gets Vacuum Wave this generation because it's a TR, so that could be an avenue. I don't think DJ 6-0s, but I am going to say he 5-0s. Just err on the side of caution.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to give it to DJ as well. Not sure about score-wise. I think... Yeah, I think something is going to die. Either he's going to sack something to get something in to win, or ARvid's going to catch Pokemon off guard. I'm going to say... I'll say 4-0. Yeah, I'll say 4-0.
Alrighty. Next up on the list, I'll let you take the lead on this one, is going to be myself versus Professor Elm. Okay, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, so, okay. I think the Volcarona has some fun times here, especially if Sun comes on Elm's side. It just sort of it helps out your Volcarona actually very well. If Ninetales gets weakened by rocks or something, Volcarona in the sun could sweep, I think, every single Pokemon besides maybe like a specially defensive Togekiss can live a hit. That might be scary. Maybe the Hydreigon if it's like Rock Slide. That's sort of interesting, but
could be Head Smash.
Or maybe Trick Room. Although your team's not the fastest.
I'd say I actually have a slower team than him, so actually bringing Trick Room is just playing into my hands. So
yeah,
there's definitely some very problematic things for him. Volcarona, if it gets a Quiver Dance, pretty much wins on its own. I've actually run quite a lot of calcs on this. Even specially defensive mons don't appreciate it. So that's one thing to bear in mind. And even things like Togekiss don't have the best matchup into me. Like, how does a Togekiss beat a Carkol? For example, how does it beat like a decently bulky Mudsdale? Like, there are things that it can't beat, and then things like Duraludon really kind of eat Togekiss alive. So it's very interesting. My biggest worry, honestly, looking at this matchup, is actually the Galarian Corsola. If he gets some clutch burns on things like Pangoro, things like Mudsdale, stuff like that, mitigate the damage threats, that could be scary. Things like Mimikyu as well, if that comes. Mimikyu could be actually very strong here. Definitely interesting. I don't know how well he breaks through my defensive cores and then handles the offensive pressure I can put on. That's the big one. He doesn't have the most entry hazard setters either. That's something to watch. He only has a couple of rockers in Cobalion and Claydol. And then he only has like 3 removers, but 2 of them I doubt he ever runs. I don't think he ever has time to run Claydol, like both Hydreigon and Togekiss. I mean, Togekiss, if it's defensive, wouldn't mind Defog, but then it lacks power output. And then Hydreigon doesn't really want to run Defog anytime soon. So it's kind of awkward. Like, he loses to Hazards, and then he loses to Volcarona. So it's a tough one for him, but I do think he could be pretty annoying. Weavile actually outspeeds everything on my team, which is a problem. If he brings Banded Weavile, that could be annoying for me. Stuff like that. Inteleon also outspeeds my whole team, but I don't feel like Inteleon's Gmax is that great in this format because it can't hold Scope Lens.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with your points. Although I see a way Elm can win. That being like brain coverage for Pokemon that like to switch in on stuff. So like let's say your answer to Hydreigon, just for instance, is Volcarona. Of course, you'd be wanting to run a rock move like Rock Slide. Catching something off guard and predicting, I think, is the way to win this match. I don't think standard play is going to be able to get him this win here.
Nah, he's definitely gonna have to try and catch me unawares, which is easier said than done in some instances against me, but obviously I'm biased because it's me, and I feel very strong that I'm pretty comfortable in this match. I do think he can eke some differential out of me. I do have a tendency to sack off differential, which is a bit of an issue of mine. But I will back myself. I think I'll back myself 4-0.
Okay. I think I'm going to back you as well. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a 2-0.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's where I would be if I wasn't biased, to be honest. Alright. Battle number 3 then is going to be Burger, of course, coach of the now future Foreheads, versus what was normally Winter. Unfortunately, Winter is very unwell right now. On behalf of course, everyone in the league, of course, we do wish for a quick recovery. But Shadow Axe is going to be taking over this team for this matchup. So it's kind of an interesting one because obviously Burger's made some changes. We see the Tox now instead of the Orbeetle, which I think makes a lot of sense. And we do see Pyukumuku in here. Definitely not a fan of the Pyukumuku pickup, if I have to be honest. More stall to a stall team, you know, and all that. But it's kind of an interesting dilemma because we said this before in Winter's post-draft rankings that this team's got a lot of core ideas, but it doesn't seem to have a cohesive team of 6 that has good synergy with each other. However, that being said, I don't think Shadow's gonna have the same shortcomings as Winter does. Things like Poltergeist or Marowak, for example, stuff like that, which Winter didn't bring in week 1. There's a lot of interesting dilemmas here to go for. The question is, what does Shadow bring? Like, what core idea do we look at? I'm not a huge fan of the Rain core into Seismitoad and Toxtricity. So that's kind of a problem. And then it's like, does Trick Room really work that well? Kinda.
I think there's way too many things going on the Cherrim Picker side. Like, I think, yeah, there's so much going on, whereas Burger just sort of, honestly, I mean, at this point, he sort of embraced the stall. I mean, Pyukumuku, Xatu, come on now. But I think Burger's is more sort of fat that also has offense, sort of like a fat offense, because like you got Dragapult and Tox to sort of break through a few things. But because it's Shadow, it's sort of making me second guess, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see like Umbud and Holucha causing a problem. End up being able to outspeed the Dragapult and stuff like that. It kind of feels like if Burger can get his offense in, if he can get the Lycanroc into a position where it wins the game, then he wins. But we know how oppressive Shadow is with his positioning, so it's very, very difficult to play that. But I don't think he has the team that can really pivot effectively outside of Scizor. So that's where I'm kind of concerned. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and give this match to Burger, just because I think Burger's going to be way more comfortable with his team compared to having to play a rather bunch of small ideas and not really know where to go. But I don't think it's going to be as comfortable a win as it would have been if Winter was playing this team. I'm going to give Burger a 3-0.
Okay. Okay, so I think, you know what, I'm going to switch it up. I'm actually going to go that Shadow is going to win this one. It's going to be very close, though. I think it's going to be a 1-0.
Alright. So, next up on the docket is gonna be Sylvie and the Miami Sylveons versus Nico of the Cataclysmic Conkeldurrs. Both of these taking losses last week, so someone is gonna get their first win this season. Something that really kind of catches my attention is the changes that Nico's made. Kind of sad to see Conkeldurr gone. I hate it when people drop their mascots personally, but I do like the Alakazam pairing up with Indeedee. Makes a lot of sense. Scrafty is also a pretty solid Pokemon. I almost picked it up instead of Pangoro in my draft, but I felt like Pangoro was more fun. And then we see Gyarados instead of Lantern, which is kind of interesting, because now there's only one Volt Absorber and Arctozolt, which wasn't the case before. Which does mean he's a little bit weaker to Zeraora, which is a problem.
Yeah, that's true. I think so. If we just look at Gmax, Mons, Nico does have the advantage there. But then again, Arcanine, if it's defensive, can just sort of come in on Cinderace pretty freely. Yeah, just Morning Sun spam with like Intimidate. Yeah, that's pretty good bring. If it's like a U-turn Cinderace and it goes out into like Lunatone and Lunatone sweeps, let's go. I want to see a
Meteor Beam. Let's do it.
Hell yeah, no. Rock Polish Meteor Beam? Wait a minute.
It's there. Trick Room. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Trick Room actually wasn't bad on Nico's original team until he dropped Conkeldurr. So, kind of an interesting dilemma. Obviously, Indeedee coming to block the priority moves, things like the Fake Out and Zeraora and the Sucker Punch on Lycanroc, because I actually remember it has Lycanroc, unlike Transil. But Like, the thing is like, we said this last week, that Zeraora kind of wins this matchup, because Zeraora is such a potent mon. But then we also realize who's playing it. And then we know Sylvie has problems with execution at times. He doesn't necessarily make the cleanest decisions. Although he did play better last week than we have seen of him. That kind of worries me. But I do like the Zeraora. I do actually kind of like Sylveon as well. Although it doesn't have the best matchup, but it does nuke Scrafty. It does also nuke the Fracture. The other question is what Sylvally comes, if it comes. Which type do we bring this time? He brought Dragon last week, which I thought was questionable. Maybe Dark?
I think it has to be Dark. For the Indeedee Alakazam, like, he doesn't have another Dark type. So in order to stop that, you're either going to have to sack something off, or make like Corviknight Max Bidef or something. Like, that's the only way you're going to be tanking. So I think that just... it makes sense if it's Dark coming.
And of course, the downside for Dark is indeed he does get Dazzling Gleam, and Alakazam gets Focus Blast. So I think Alakazam also gets Dazzling Gleam now. So that's something else to bear in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be an interesting dilemma for Sylvie. As much as I really want to back a Zeraora team, because I do think it's strong, I feel like Nico's execution is a little stronger. So I'm interested to see how Nico pilots this team with the changes. I'm going to give Nico a win. But I do think it's close, though. I'm going to give him a 2-0.
Oh, man. I was going to say that. Damn,
we can still do the same ones. We don't have to be different
every time. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. I think I'm going to give Nico a 3-0. I put my money down on him last week. I wanted to see that Fracture sweep. Sadly, that didn't happen.
Unfortunately,
but,
I was prepared for that.
Yeah.
Dear. Alright then. So, last battle of the division, and probably the most fun one for me to watch in the division this week, is gonna be Gekko Kami, of course, the D-Mega Quagsires, versus Denistro. He's playing this week of the Swansea Soul Blazers. So, as much as these two love to trash talk each other, and we've been streaming to Wolf and I have been streaming together for a while, doing a playthrough together on Twitch, Denny has been pretty vocal in his trash talk, so has Akami, so it's pretty funny. There's a lot of banter to be had, so I'm definitely interested to see who comes out on top and gets the bragging rights. But on a more serious note, low-key, I actually kind of like the Slurpuff here. Quite a lot more than I thought I was going to. Slurpuff as a pickup seems like a really, really good timing. Slurpuff can actually nuke a lot of things if it gets a belly drum up. The question is, when does it get the belly drum up? So that's going to be the interesting. But I can see like belly drum player off Drain Punch just ruining this team.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. The only thing is Wheezing just comes in on both those moves.
Or even a +6.
Yeah, like it lives. It's pretty tanky.
That's true.
Plus, and if you're going for play rough, it could miss and stuff like that. I think Denistro can pull it off. I did scrim with Denistro and helped him out. I used, of course, Gekko Kami's team, and he was having a hard time with a few Pokemon. I'm not gonna say what, because you know. They're probably both gonna watch this, but I think if Denistro plays around these two Pokemon specifically, he can win, but it's gonna be close.
I can definitely see things like Galarian Dom causing a problem if it gets into Zen mode. Things like Magnezone as well can be kind of annoying. So there's definitely a lot of interest in this matchup. It's going to be how well does Akami pivot around any of the issues that we can see. There's not the hugest hazard setters in the world on Denny's side. Lycanroc never really wants to run it, so Druddigon is pretty much your best one. I think Palossand gets rocks. I'm not too familiar with Palossand.
Yeah, it does.
I don't see Palossand coming though. It doesn't do that well in the matchup. So his only real like reliable rocker is going to be Druddigon, I think. But who do I want to back? On the basis, I think Slurpuff is going to be the big stronghold here. I'm going to back Denny. and hopefully he redeems himself from last season. I'll give him a 2-0.
Okay. Oh, I really want to give it to Denny, but oh man, just playing with Okami's team, it's so good. I think it's gonna be really close. I think I'm gonna give Okami a 1-0.
Alright, and with that, of course, that brings our pick'ems for Johto. Let's see how bad we do this week. Let's see how many results we get. It's definitely going to be funny to see. Who knows, we might have another 2-2 week. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Rybombi Teacher. That's Exo.
Yeah.
Alright, so and stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.